So recently, Joe Biden was questioned about the gas prices and when are those gas prices going to decrease? I don't think you're going to like what Joe had to say, but because it's the news and I feel you need to know about this, I'm going to have to share this with you, unfortunately. So I think I'm going to play the video. I was going to read the article, but let's just go into the video. Here we go.
And my second question is on your trip to Saudi Arabia, which is coming up next month. As we just discussed, Americans are paying almost $5 a gallon nationally on average for gas. So do you expect to ask the Crown Prince or the King to increase oil production? And if so, how will you balance that with your desire to hold them accountable for their human rights abuses?
Well, first of all, that's not the
That was a double whammy there. That was a double whammy. I like what he did there. He snuck in the human rights abuses part too.
purpose of the trip. The purpose of the trip, first of all, I'm starting off on that trip in Israel. The Israelis believe it's really important that I make the trip. In addition to that, what we're trying to do is that the Gulf State.
I'm just going to chime in here and say this is already not starting out well. This is pretty bad. Joe Biden just told you that's not the purpose of the trip. He seems like he's having a difficult time answering this question as well.
States plus 3. And so I'm sure that it's in Saudi Arabia, but it's not about Saudi Arabia. It's in Saudi Arabia. And so there's no commitment that is being made, or I'm not even sure. I guess I will see the King and the Crown Prince, but that's not the meeting I'm going to. They'll be part of a much larger meeting. And what we're talking about in dealing with that trip is that before I go, I'm, as I said, going to Israel to meet with the Israeli leaders to affirm the unbreakable bond Israel and the United States have.
Did he ask him anything about Israel? No, he did not. He specifically is asking him about Saudi Arabia. This is Joe Biden going on a tangent to avoid answering that question.
And part of the purpose is the trip to the Middle East is to deepen Israel's integration into the region, which I think we're going to be able to do, and which is a good for peace and good for Israeli security. And that's why Israel leaders have come out so strongly for my going to Saudi. But the overall piece here is we're also going to try to reduce the deaths and the war that's occurring. I mean, there's a whole range of things that go well beyond anything having to do with Saudi in particular.
Him and Kamala Harris are not good at answering questions. He didn't ask you anything about Israel. He was asking you specifically about those gas prices. And he's asking you, are you going to hold them accountable for crimes against humanity? That's it. Not sure how Israel got into this equation. Not sure. Again, one of them was a yes or no question. And the other one, he's asking, like, are the gas prices going to go down anytime soon? What is the plan?
But if you were to see the Crown Prince or the King, would you ask them to increase oil production?
No, I'm not going to ask. I'm going to ask. All the Gulf states are meeting. I've indicated to them that I thought they should be increasing oil production generically, not to the Saudis particularly. And I think I hope we see them in their own interest concluding that makes sense to do. And, they have real concerns about what's going on in Iran and other places in terms of their security as well, all of them.
Okay. So Joe Biden, again, was asking, are the gas prices going to go down? Joe Biden's response, not anytime soon. Do not expect the gas prices to go down anytime soon. How many of you out there right now are struggling to pay for gas? I know I am. I put $10 in recently. It's already gone. So there you have it, folks. There you have it. Now, let's go into this here. Again, as long as it takes, he said. We'll have to stomach high gas prices as long as it takes to beat back Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. I want to remind all of you that the gas prices had already started to increase before they invaded Ukraine. There's more. Listen to him blame Russia for all of it. All of it. Listen to this.
If we do these things, it's estimated we could bring down tomorrow, if Congress agreed and the states agreed, we could bring down the price of oil about $1 a gallon at the pump, in that range. And so we could have immediate relief in terms of the reduction of the elimination of temporary elimination of the gas tax. And so I think there's a lot of things we can do and we will do, but the bottom line is, ultimately, the reason why gas prices are up is because of Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. The reason why the food crisis exists is because of Russia. Russia not allowing grain to get out of Ukraine.
He's not going to mention anything about the sanctions. Have you noticed that? The sanctions that were imposed by the United States. When Biden first announced that, I told everyone that that would affect us too, and here we are. He's struggling here.
Made it we could bring down tomorrow, if Congress agreed and the states agreed, we could bring down the price of oil about $1 a gallon at the pump, in that range. And so we could have immediate relief in terms of the reduction of the elimination of temporary elimination of the gas tax.
Joe Biden does not need to be president of the United States. Joe Biden right now needs to go home, have some prune juice, and chill. He's struggling. This is a terrible look for the United States. This is our president. I can only imagine what other countries are saying about us right now. I can only imagine. But it gets worse. Now, apparently, Joe Biden is not too happy about the fact that people don't want him to run in 2024. He's being rejected by his own party. And he's not too happy about that. Now, Case Study QB, he clipped this here. I want you guys to listen to this discussion about Joe Biden not being happy about people not wanting him to run in 2024. I want to remind you, the man has done nothing. He's done nothing for us. Continuing to help Ukraine, though. They just sent, what, another $800 million to go over there to help them? But nothing for us. And he's surprised people don't want him to run. Let's hear this. This is comical.
A whopping 85% of the country says America is on the wrong track, and that includes 7 second term for him. The New York Times reporting the president is, quote, irked by Democrats who won't take yes for an answer on 2024. The Times adding, quote, the president and his top aides have been stung by the questions about his plans, irritated at what they see as a lack of respect from their party and the press. But despite all the odds, Kamala Harris is trying to instill confidence in the sinking ship.
By the way, I don't care for this woman right here either. Janine, I think that's her name. I don't care for her either.
Joe Biden is running for re-election, and I will be his ticket mate. Full stop. Full stop. That's it.
And as the Democrats panic over their flailing 2024 prospects, the media thinks Hillary Clinton will be the one to bail them out. CNN has begun their push for two-time presidential loser to make another run at the White House. And Gayle King is practically begging Hillary to do it.
There's no scenario in 2024 that you would even remotely consider.
I can't imagine it. I really can't.
I can't imagine it either. Don't do it. We don't want you. We've already showed you that we don't want you. You lost to a reality TV star. Can't get any worse than that. Really can't. I don't even know why Gayle is trying to encourage Hillary Clinton to run again. Come on. Wow. Wow.
I don't know.
Well, but what I can't imagine is staying as active and outspoken as I can.
She can't imagine it, Jesse.
Yeah.
She just can't. The two-time loser wants to go for it a third time.
So this Operation Joe Must Go is really picked up after the bike fiasco. People who were on the fence are now definitely starting to throw the guy a retirement party. But you're throwing someone a retirement party and he doesn't want to retire. It's like, Joe, we're going to have some balloons. What kind of cake do you want? And Joe's like, I'm not retiring. I don't want cake. Oh, you're going to have the vanilla. You're going to love it. And he's out. So it's more of a media coup than a Democratic Party coup, because you look at these questions. Dana Bash is asking who's running. Gayle King.
He just said the quiet part out loud when he says it's more of a media coup, because what he's letting you know is that the media basically picks who the person's going to be. Have they not done this before? Wasn't it the media who decided it was not going to be Bernie Sanders, even though the polls were saying something different? Wasn't it the media that decided that it was going to be Hillary Clinton, even though even at that point, the polls, even when it started to close in, they still were saying it was going to be Hillary Clinton? The media is very much involved in our political system. They are the driving force of what happens in our political system, them and money. I would argue that mainstream media is probably one of the most dangerous aspects of politics, because they control the narrative. And that's exactly what they did with Bernie Sanders. They controlled that narrative. They told you that he was going to take your health care away, and thousands of Americans believed it, because that's what mainstream media told them. So he just said the quiet part out loud, letting you know what the media wants, and what the media wants is usually what they get.
Is asking. Stephen Colbert is asking AOC, are you doing this? They're doing it right in front of Joe's face because he's bad for business. The ratings are down. He's no fun to cover. I mean, you used to go to Martha's Vineyard. You used to go to Hawaii or Mar-a-Lago. What do you go to Delaware now to cover Joe Biden? No one wants to do that. They loved, or West Texas.
All right.
They loved covering Barack Obama. They loved covering Bill Clinton, because those were young, charismatic guys that took the fight to Republicans day after day. Joe Biden doesn't lay any wood on the Republicans. He's fighting Putin harder than he's fighting the Republican Party. And to the media, Republicans are the enemy, and they need to be attacked 24/7. The media cannot stomach putting out poll after poll that shows their guy, who they dragged over the finish line, at 38%. You can see.
That's a good point. Greg mentioned in the chat last time he checked, Fox News was also a part of the media. That is interesting that he's talking about the media as if he's not a part of it. He is a part of mainstream media. What he means to say is he means to describe the liberal media, the channels like CNN and MSNBC that cater towards the Democrat politicians. He's pretending like he's not a part of the problem. Interesting.
Them getting physically ill on the air. And talk about the parent companies, AT&T, Comcast. They're looking at the market every single day. They've lost, what, 20%? Their stock prices are down. And now.
Doesn't Comcast also own you? Interesting he would bring them up. Comcast also was one of Joe Biden's donors FYI.
Now the donors aren't happy either, so this thing's almost done. Now the media is basically...
What was that? Let's go back. Listen to this. Again, he says the quiet part out loud. I hope more Americans that watch this segment are catching what he says.
Then he's fighting the Republican Party, and to the media, Republicans are the enemy, and they need to be attacked 24/7. The media cannot stomach putting out poll after poll that shows their guy, who they dragged over the finish line, at 38%. You can see them getting physically ill on the air. And talk about the parent companies, AT&T, Comcast. They're looking at the market every single day. They've lost, what, 20%? Their stock prices are down. And now the donors aren't happy either. So this thing's almost done.
And now the donors aren't happy either. So this thing is almost done. I hope everyone who watched this segment caught what he said, because that's actually what it's about. It's about pleasing the donors. And if you don't please them, they really have the power to make sure that you don't happen again. He just said the quiet part out loud. This is why I tell you it's all about the money. It's about the donors, which is Wall Street, corporate America. That's what the politicians do. They please them. They don't please us. Notice in that speech, he didn't say the American people aren't happy. He said the donors aren't happy. Even though a lot of us are not happy with Joe Biden, he didn't mention that. You know why? Because he knows it doesn't matter if we're happy or not. He knows that Wall Street and the media pick the candidates. They decide who they want in, the people who are going to serve them. I really hope people caught that. I really do.
Now the media has basically started the primary. The primary's begun. And now the primary is anybody but Bernie Sanders, because the media hates Bernie Sanders and half the Democratic Party hates him. So they're road testing AOC and Mayor Pete and Kamala, but everybody knows it's going to be a flop. So the only shot they have is to indict Donald Trump.
Huge shout out to Case Study QB for catching that clip. He just told you at the end, the media has already decided who the primary is going to be. And we know the donors control the media. So there you go. Case Study, thank you so much. I don't know how he catches these clips, but that was a really good one. And this is why, and I'm going to say this, and some people are not going to like it. That's okay. If you have not officially left the Democratic Party, it's time for you to pack your bags and go. You need to leave this corrupt party. The whole system is so dirty. Look at what the Democratic Party just did to Matthew Hoh in North Carolina. Green Party candidate for Senate, met all the requirements, got all the signatures that he needed to get to be on the ballot this November. What did the Democratic Party do? They held a vote to make sure that he would not appear on that ballot. I kid you not. He was just on Jimmy Dore's show earlier today. And I've been tweeting it out, passing it on to as many people as possible. We have to call this system out. Why would you want to be a part of that party that is doing that? The Republican Party is also corrupt. Also corrupt. But one thing I will say about them, they don't have super delegates. Their system is different. Why are the super delegates a problem? Because they're the reason why someone like Bernie Sanders, even though he was polling higher than Hillary Clinton in states like Wyoming, the super delegates chose Hillary Clinton. The GOP doesn't have that. Why the hell do they have super delegates? Why? So they can get the people that are going to serve corporate interests in those seats. They don't want the people that the American people want. They want the people that Wall Street wants. How dirty can you be? Leave it. Leave the party. All of it. And when I say all of it, that includes the progressives, because they joined the corrupt party. They're not doing anything either. Leave all of it behind and don't feel bad about it. Some people, particularly African Americans, not feeling Joe, and they are letting him know. And they're talking about leaving as well. I want you to see this clip. Now, this was from, I think, a month ago. I think CJ shared this earlier, and I was like, I have to share this tonight as well. I want you to hear from someone who actually mobilized people in his community to come out and vote for Joe Biden, particularly in a state that Democrats do not win, and that state was Georgia. Listen to what he has to say about Joe Biden now.
So we got some free giveaways, social status.
Jasiri X helped turn out the vote for President Biden in 2020. But now
you have a lot of black people that feel like we sacrificed a lot to make sure this administration came in, and we haven't collectively reaped the benefits.
The Pittsburgh activist says Biden has failed to deliver on his promises.
There's been a direct attack on our voting rights. That hasn't been addressed, right? We did all of this organizing around police reform, but like the opposite has happened. It's almost like we're last on the agenda. Right?
A year.
And I'm going to tell you something for those of you who care a lot about police reform, then you damn sure shouldn't be voting for Democrats or Republicans, because both parties are giving more money to the police. So there's that. He said it feels like we're last on the list. We are. We've always been last on the list. Had it not been for the pandemic, had it not been for the current inflation, I don't think more people would have woken up to it. I think a lot of people would still be asleep.
Ago, exit polls showed Biden's approval rating among black voters at 87%. Now it's 63%, but ahead of the midterm.
It's actually 59% now. This was a month ago, just FYI.
Biden and Democrats will need to convince voters like Farouk al-Sahid to turn out. Al-Sahid voted for the first time in 2020.
Democrats haven't done anything to improve my black quality of life in the States. We might just have to sit this one out.
Jamie.
Yes. Sit it out. Let them lose. Let them lose so bad that it's embarrassing for them. You're going to have to take something away from them, because they've been taking a lot away from us. This time you're going to have to take something away from them. You take away your vote. You let them know that they don't just automatically get our vote. Now here comes Jamie Harrison. He's another corporate goon. He lost to Lindsey Graham. Listen to what he has to say. He's another clown.
Harrison, chair of the Democratic National Committee, said the Biden administration has taken a number of steps, like providing funding for Black-owned businesses and historically Black colleges and universities.
What do you say to Black voters who say that President Biden...
In reference to historically Black universities, he told those students that he was going to forgive their student loan debt. That did not happen. Coming onto this show and bragging about the fact that Joe Biden gave money to universities and gave money for businesses, that doesn't say anything to me. That means nothing, because that's capitalism. That's him supporting capital. Universities are business. I know. I worked at university for over 10 years. People call them schools. Those of us who have worked there will tell you it's a business. That's Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden supporting businesses, not supporting the people, keeping his promise to the HBCU students that he would forgive their student loan debt. That would have been him supporting the people. That's the difference between the two.
Hasn't delivered on a lot of the promises he made on the campaign trail.
I like to tell folks, Rome wasn't built in a day. We particularly want to do more, but we got to have more votes in the United States Senate in order to do it.
See? That's what they do. Well, we want to do more, but we need more votes. Bro, you know how many people came out and voted for Joe Biden in 2020? When I think back to all those people, particularly Black people, that I saw on TV standing in line in Atlanta for over 10 hours. My friend was texting me the entire time, waited in line for all those hours, especially older Black people. That really pissed me off to see them do that, wait all those hours to vote for a man who ain't going to do anything for you or your community. That really bothered me. It made me feel some kind of way. Black people put in all that time to check your name off on a ballot, and you haven't done anything for Black community. Canceling student loan debt would greatly help Black women. We have the highest student loan debt. We have the bulk of it. Don't even mention reparations. Don't even go there, because you know that's a no-no. Nothing. What does he do instead? After a summer of people protesting, marching in the streets about George Floyd, after summers, people marching across the world in different countries, his response is, okay, everybody, put on some kente cloth and kneel, and let's go give the police more money. This guy's a joke. And Black people, we got to stop falling for this game. This young woman right here, she falling for the game. Listen.
Campbell agrees. The Philadelphia resident is eager to have her student loans forgiven.
But I think he needs more time to really make real change. I love that he's putting a lot of particularly African-American women in position.
What? This is what continues to happen. This is why we don't get anything. Yes, I would like my student loans to be forgiven, but we need to give him more time. He's on his second year. The country is crumbling. I like that he's appointing Black people in these positions. What does that do for the Black community? Mainstream media has really propagandized Americans, but in particular, has really propagandized African Americans to believe that the Democratic Party is actually doing something for us. Why else would she say that? Because she thinks that's actually something that's beneficial to the community. It's not. Brainwashing.
Still, Black voters like Will Mega say Democrats need to get much more aggressive.
What would you say to President Biden if you could speak with him?
I would say, Mr. President, we delivered for you. It's time for you to deliver for us.
A direct message from the voters that Democrats will have to win back before the midterms. Yamiche Alcindor, NBC News.
Leave the party. Leave the party. I got to tell you, if you've been watching independent media and you still believe that the Democratic Party is going to help you, is going to do something for you, I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't. Thank you for this super chat, The Traveler. It cost me about $80 to fill up a gas tank for a 14-gallon tank. I'm tired of paying almost $5 a gallon in Atlanta. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is why I don't really drive anywhere right now. I go down the street. When I go get my allergy shots, that's the furthest I have to go. That kills my tank. I couldn't imagine making that drive every day. This is a scary thing here. Now, this is breaking 911. What do you say to those families that say, listen, we can't afford to pay $4.85 a gallon for months, if not years? Listen to what this guy says, because this is really creepy. Listen to what he says.
Sustainable. What do you say to those families who say, listen, we can't afford to pay $4.85 a gallon for months, if not years. This is just not sustainable.
Well, what you heard from the president today was a clear articulation of the stakes. This is about the future of the liberal world order, and we have to stand firm.
Sustainable. What do you say to those families who say, listen, we can't afford to pay $4.85 a gallon for months, if not years. This is just not sustainable.
Wait for it.
Well, what you heard from the president today was a clear articulation of the stakes. This is about the future of the liberal world order, and
This is about the future of the what? This is about the future of the liberal world order? The what? What is that? Is this like some secret society that we weren't supposed to know about, but now we know about? What do you mean the liberal world order? What are you talking about? He just let you know it's not about what we want. It's about what the liberal world order wants. Well. Isn't that interesting?